What's up, you guys? It occurred to me in the 8+ years that I've been putting together these Weider Ultimate Body Works or Total Gym videos that I never really showcased a basic beginner routine or way to kind of start using the equipment initially. And not just for a beginner, but people maybe that are just got the equipment for the first time. Maybe you got this as a holiday gift, or you got it for the new year that's coming up, whether that's, again, a Total Gym or Weider Ultimate Body Works. It doesn't really matter because even the Total Gym models are all different and there's different type of stuff, but the basic mechanics are still there. So regardless of what machine you have, I think this will be helpful. Before I get going though on this, if you guys like this content, you guys want to see more of it, please like and or subscribe to the content. That's another reason why I put this video together too, is to realize there's a lot of people that are new that kind of see my videos initially. So again, assuming it's a new year, this might be helpful to some people. As always, I put links down below and timestamps down below if you guys are interested in seeing more of that. So with that being said, I try to keep the beginner mindset in my head for somebody who's just jumping on this machine as far as the exercises selected and also the time period it should take to complete this workout. This is roughly 2 circuits, 3 exercises each. You definitely can even modify these exercises further, which I'll touch on that. But this is actually a similar routine I actually recommended recently to my wife, who basically is just jumping on and messing around with the machine and the equipment in our house in general. So I'm going to get right into just like the basic press, but notice the way my feet are kind of on the ground. That is a huge way of just kind of dissipating the force, making it a little bit easier. Sometimes you see on my videos that I kind of will just be kneeling on the machine, but notice you can just do this press, make it harder by just picking your feet up off the ground a little bit, and that makes a difference too. Otherwise, just keep your feet on the ground and you can kind of, again, kind of get a little bit of a benefit, but just kind of dissipate the force a little bit. And as always, I hold it in that grip with the strap is going underneath my forearm basically. And then getting into this row here, a lot of times I do single arm stuff, but really the double arm, just basic row is very useful. And again, I got my feet on the ground to kind of dissipate that force. I'm sitting a little bit more higher up, but notice I'm keeping a nice straight back. But even this one, I think I'd put down in the workout down below like 20 repetitions. You can do 10 to 20 repetitions, but doesn't matter what age you are or what level you are. Even something as simple as this with enough repetitions and enough kind of focus on the body part, I think this is beneficial for really anybody. And as always, again, like I said, you can take your feet up off the ground and that would make a difference just as far as the weight that you're going to be feeling it. Now notice here, coming up here, I'm going to do the basic squat. Now most people don't realize this. This is how you'd want to squat in this machine. Put your feet at this angle, kind of angle them out a little bit. And then some people think of like actually laying on the machine, but really what this machine and other total gym models and Weider Ultimate Body models are meant to do with this narrow squat pad is to actually squat like this, where you're sitting kind of a little bit further down on the machine, but my heels are staying flat. I might have to get a certain angle, but this is the way you're meant to kind of quote unquote like leg press the machine. The Weider Ultimate Body Works has these great little cable and bungee attachments at the bottom that can make it harder. But believe it or not, I actually found this exercise pretty good. I mean, I rarely do this one. And this is one, maybe I've not ever shown this in the videos, but this is how it's meant to be performed. And with enough repetitions, again, it doesn't, minimal stress. It might look, there's like a little shearing in the knees, but you don't have to go that low, and every body type's a little bit different. But the point was, that exercise actually felt pretty good with the legs. And again, considering there's a lot of age groups that work with this machine, I think that I'm thinking of somebody who's any 35 plus, 60 plus individual who just doesn't do a whole lot with their legs anyways. Something's better than nothing. As with any exercise or movement, something could be uncomfortable and could hurt something, but really that's just your own discretion and repetitions, how many days a week you're doing stuff, and just the way you're setting up the exercise. So I always say this, just kind of work around and avoid pain basically. So that's pretty much this first circuit. There's not a whole much to really say about this. You'll see that I kind of basically raise the different inclines. You'll see me kind of twist the straps. A beginner could definitely mess around with this. I may have showcased, I thought I actually took a video of this, but maybe I didn't include it. I have different attachments that I recommend, different handles that I recommend in place of the original stock handles. I can't speak for the Total Gym, but the Weider Ultimate Body Works stock handles I think are kind of average. So I like these handles. I link down below. You can find them on Amazon. They've been really good so far. So now you're seeing me kind of just put the bungees on. Not all, I think there's one Total Gym model that might have this, but otherwise the Weider Ultimate Body Works have these kind of come stock, and this made a big difference just in the tension I felt. Notice I kind of had to scoot down the sled to kind of get that range of motion from not bottoming out. You basically want to avoid bottoming out the sled in general. But again, a great leg exercise. You'll see another good leg exercise I think is accessible for most people as well in the second circuit, and that's going to come up briefly, so I'll touch on that when we get to it. But something to kind of keep in mind, I've said this before, but I should say it many more times, is that, you know, less is more as long as it's kind of consistent. I mean, this might not seem like a lot, 15 to 20 minutes, but even as I was recording this, in my mind, I'm like, well, I'll just do this as kind of like a warm-up. This really turned into like a mini workout. So You don't need a whole lot of time. You don't need a whole lot of stuff. I mean, granted, yeah, if you spend 15 minutes, you didn't do a whole lot of work, like maybe like 3 sets of something, that's one thing. But if you got 15 minutes and you're doing like 2 to 3 sets of these 6 exercises, in my opinion, that's pretty good work, especially if you're just kind of getting into this. But I don't care how many years you've been doing it, something is better than nothing. So you're going to see me eventually after this. I'm going to set up the next exercise, and I'm playing a lot with inclines. So definitely don't feel like you got to do this incline. The next sequence, you'll see me kind of really lower the incline, being mindful about something. But what I'm doing is I'm just progressing it. And I did this on purpose. This might be too high for most people if they're just starting out. But definitely, you can, there's a number of ways of progressing this stuff as a beginner. You can just simply do more repetitions, do more sets. If anything, I actually recommend doing more sets versus repetitions sometimes in an individual workout session. So even this workout, if you feel like the 2 sets that I have down here is too little, you could definitely turn this into 4 sets, even 5 or 6 sets in my opinion, just because this stuff is naturally really low intensity. But other ways obviously is just up the incline on each sequence, or again, get creative with putting resistance bands. Even if you have a basic total gym model, there's a number of ways you can creatively attach resistance bands or some external weight. I know some total gym models have external loads and weight, so that's an option obviously as well. But I actually love the feel of the resistance bands on a total gym or Weider Ultimate Body Works versus adding external weight, in my opinion. I just like the way it kind of pulls you down. So now I'm setting up the next sequence. Notice I put the incline fairly low. In fact, you'll see in a second I lower it even further because I'm being mindful about somebody who's a beginner. Even at this incline, and just for me from these years just messing around with this same exercise, this still feels like kind of a challenge. So I'm being mindful of that person who is advanced in age, and this alone at this incline might feel hard. Honestly, you could put this thing totally flat, and with the Weider Ultimate Body Works model, you can actually put the bungees on. Even with it totally flat, it still provides a challenge. So again, very low incline setting. You might not do the full 20 repetitions that are recommended down below. Could be 10, could be 8, whatever kind of works for you. And you're just kind of seeing this in real time here. I just kind of switch this back up. Again, I leave it at this very low, I guess I do incline it, but you could leave that at a low setting as well, even for these pull-ups. And I recently did a video on my channel where I actually showcased me using that cat barbell rack and doing some pull-ups. And to my amazement, from not doing a pull-up in probably, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 months, my pull-up still felt really good. So that's just a testament to this type of pull-up on this type of machine, whether that's a Weider Ultimate Body Works or a Total Gym. And now coming up here, this is what I think is a good version of a lunge. You might think there's a number of different creative single joint stuff you can do with the Total Gym or Weider Ultimate Body Works, but sometimes I think they're a little cumbersome and weird to kind of set up, especially between sets. This one I like a lot. It's just basically you put your foot in that little position where you're going to drop step, rest your knee totally, kind of rock back, and then rock forward and press off that front leg. I don't know if this seems complicated or it seems hard or maybe easy for some people. The point is, for a number of different age groups, this is a good exercise in my opinion. If you really isolate that front leg, keep that heel flat, rock forward and press up using your glutes, hamstrings, and quadriceps to press up. Feels really good. You definitely could make this a little bit easier by holding on to something. It could be like some sort of a stick or just like a solid thing. If you got like a squat rack like I do, you got it next to you. But you could even take this up a notch and hold on to some external weight somehow. But point was, I think I did 10 repetitions on this, and this felt great. And this is a good, use that word functional exercise, but a good basic functional exercise that'll strengthen the leg in a nice natural fashion instead of doing some weird awkward single joint thing, which in my opinion, the Total Gym or Weider Ultimate Body Works stuff can get kind of awkward if you start doing like these single leg extensions or curls on the machine. But very basic stuff. So that's pretty much it as far as the sequence of how I kind of put these things together and the thought process. I think this circuit right here honestly is something you could do this circuit 3 times a week and see some steady progress if you just manipulated some simple variables like progressions, like more sets per week, maybe more sessions per week. For something like this, I'd recommend doing at the minimum twice a week, but 3 times a week at what's prescribed down below for someone who's just kind of getting acclimated to the machine, I think is perfect. You certainly could incorporate other exercises or little mini intervals. Like if you got some cardio stuff you want to incorporate some stuff where you're doing like some burpees between sets. This is just a nice bread and butter foundational sequence and workout that I think could fit really pretty much anybody in all different age groups. And like I said, I'm in my 30s. I think this would be good for the same workout. Someone who's in their 20s to 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I'd venture to even say 80s. People could do this type of workout. Obviously, nobody's different, but I think all these exercises are accessible if you make them fit your ability with the incline, and again, making some slight accommodations to things. So that's about it. Hopefully this was somewhat informative. As always, if you guys have any questions on this machine or anything else, please don't hesitate to ask me. Links to everything are down below. And as always, it's always helpful if you guys like and or subscribe to the content. I always appreciate the feedback and you guys just staying involved with the channel. Thanks so much.